Hello everyone, this is Vikram and welcome to my channel. In the previous video, we talked about how to set up Python in Windows, and we have also seen how to work with Jupyter Notebooks and Google Colab. In this video, we'll talk about comments in Python. But before understanding what are comments in Python, let's look at the repository structure. So I already created this repository, and under the courses Python, there are a lot of chapters. 03 will have more than 5 to 6 videos, and we will start with comments in Python. But I want you to look at this preview.py file once. This preview.py file has many things like you can see various comments, various import statements, exception handling. There are some variables and constants, classes, functions, and there will be other collections like lists, tuples, and a lot of things. So the reason why I'm showing this even before starting, the basics of Python is we'll be covering all these things plus many more things in the coming sessions. You may not understand everything that is written in this particular preview.py file today, but as we progress through the course, you'll be able to understand each and everything that is written in this particular file. And if you go to this third chapter, there are five topics, but I'm gonna add more if something is missed during the videos. The first one is comments in Python. So I have this README file which explains comments, how to write comments, and then there is a bundled example. You can just run it, but this will have more than comments. It will have the print statements, variables, and other things. I don't want you to understand each and everything as of now. You can just run the example and see what exactly is being printed onto the console. But if you are able to understand, that is well and good. And in readme.md file, I try to explain whatever is there in the presentation, how to run the examples that are present in this topic, and how to work with various comments. Again, I'm going to explain them in this session. So you can just go through this, understand, and then you can run the example to better understand how to write the comments in Python. So let's jump into the presentation. So this is example of poorly commented code. You can see, I have imported some packages, that is request, and then I have a function here, and then there is a print function which is basically calling a function with this particular string input. But here there are no comments, so I did not explain what this function does, what are its return values, how to invoke it. So nothing is commented in this, in case if someone sees it for the first time, so they'll not be able to understand unless they go through the logic or run this particular Python program. So what are comments in Python? Comments are one of the most important tools for writing professional and maintainable code, not just in Python, in any other programming language. So this allows you to explain why your code does something, not what it does, right? So without even going through this code, you'll be able to understand by looking at the comments, right? And the golden rule is write code that's so clear it barely needs comments, then add comments only when the intent isn't very obvious. For example, I don't have to write comments for each and every line of the program, but if my program is not very clear or the intent is not very straightforward, it's better I add various comments to my code. So there are various types of comments that you can write in Python. The first one is single line comment. The single line comment is which you write in a single line, usually top of a variable or a function or a class to explain briefly what that particular thing does. So here name is Vikram. So I can write something about this, why I had to write name as Vikram, why not something else, and days is 25. You can explain like why the starting value is 25, why I'm not starting with some other value. So these are all single line comments where you write in a single line like this using hash. But in other programming language it can be double slash, but in Python it is hash. There is also an inline way of writing comment where you initialize a particular variable like this, and then you add the comment in line. So here existent, I'm saying it is initial counter value. Similarly, what this y does, I'm just adding a comment in line. Similarly for temperature. And there are multi-line comments. Other programming languages like C or C++ has different ways of writing multiple lines as comments. For example, this is a syntax that we usually see in C language. But in Python, if you have to write multi-line comments. So there are two ways. One is you can go with doc strings. The other one is by using multiple hashes like this. Like every line has to, started with hash. So the interpreter will not consider this while running the program. So all these are comments. So here what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to explain a function. I'm not showing that function here. So I'm explaining like what that function does and what input it needs and all these things in multiple lines. And there are doc strings. So doc strings can be given using 3 triple quotes or 3 single quotes. I mean, like you have to enclose that particular comments in between these, and you can give them for modules, functions, or classes. So they can have doc strings. So they're not, I mean, they are comments, but they serve a different purpose. So they are used for documentation. For example, here I can also write a single line comment saying why this function is needed and what it does. But I can have an extended documentation in terms of in the form of doc strings like this. So here I'm explaining what this function does, what inputs it need, and what is the return value. In case if you don't understand what are these args and what is the meaning of a return value, we'll see them in the functions chapter. But again, like we'll also see them when we go through other chapters as well. So here I'm explaining what this function does and what return value it returns when someone calls this function, right? And then how do I access this particular documentation is by using this underscore underscore doc underscore underscore. So I can just call the function. This is the generate summary function dot underscore underscore doc underscore underscore. So it will basically print whatever doc string that you have created for this particular function. So now what we'll do is we'll try to write some comments. So I already cloned this repository. So under Python chapters, in the variables comments, I have this examples.py file. So I want you to run it, but there are other things like print statements and other things which you'll not be able to understand as of now. You can also see I have a very big comment. It's kind of a doc string, but it is for a module. Okay. Similarly, you can put doc strings for classes and then for other files as well, which we'll see later. So what I'll do is I'll just open the terminal here. I can cd into this particular path, or else just select this particular file and then click on okay, I think I'm missing Python extensions, so let me quickly install them. Yeah, so I installed it, and then I'll click on this examples.py file. Then you'll see a little run icon. So all I can do is just click on that particular icon and it will simply run your particular Python program. So the way it runs is it is basically calling this Python executable and then passing the examples.py file. This is a full path. Or else what I can do is I'll just open a new tab, a new terminal, and then I can just cd into this particular location like it is. But this will not work because you have to use this /. Otherwise I can just simply use a normal terminal, that is command prompt. Then I can cd into the Python folder and then simply invoke Python followed by examples.py file. So this will also do the same thing, right? So what it is doing is it is basically printing each and every variable that I have. Of course this doesn't make any sense as of now, but you can just go through this file and understand. So this is how I write a single line command. right? And then inline comments are like this. So seconds per day, it is 86,400. So I'm just mentioning here why this value, and not, you know, what this value say, because seconds per day, it's very clear, it is seconds per day. Max retries is 3. So I don't have to say this is a maximum retry value or something, but why it is 3 I should mention. So API rate limit, something like this. Timeout is 30. Server drops idle connection after 30 minutes. Okay, so if I just say it is a timeout, people doesn't understand anything. So I have to say why the timeout is 30, because timeout, everyone knows it is a timeout, right? But why 30, you have to mention here, right? That is the comment. Okay, and then certain print statements, you can see these are getting printed, when I run that examples.py file. And then multi-line commands, you can write it like this, as we already discussed. So every line start with hash, and then you have doc strings. Okay, so doc strings can be written for a particular function. So this is a function which is defined using def keyword. And I have a comment like this, which is enclosed in 3 triple quotes, right? And then how do I access it? So call the function and then __ doc __. So this will basically print the doc string. So you can also see it is printing like this, right? So whatever you write, basically it will print like that, right? And then, yeah, so that's it for the commenting part. But if you see this particular file, so there are certain print statements. So we know the basic print, but what is this /n, and then what is this f here? So these are all formatted print statements, which we'll see in the third section of this particular, so after variables, we'll be seeing the advanced printing. Yeah, so that's it for this particular, this is about that examples.py file. I'll just open the readme file. I can also open the preview, so it will be rendering of the markdown file. So I explained about the prerequisites. The first 2 videos are prerequisites and how to run this example, and then why comments matter, single line command, inline, multi-line, doc strings. And then there are certain best practices, like what you need to write as comment and what you need to what you have to avoid. For example, here timeout is 30. So timeout is 30. So here I'm explaining why it is 30. Server drops connection after 30 seconds of inactivity. But no, I'm not saying initialize timeout to 30 or set timeout to 30, right? It doesn't make any sense. But when you come to don't, if I say x is 5 and if I give the comment like assign 5 to x, so people know that x is 5. So we are assigning 5 to x, but why 5? This is what we need to explain as comment, right? So these are some of the examples of bad commenting approaches, and then certain examples for writing the better comments. So you can just try this. You can just copy this as a separate py file, .py file, and then you can execute it using Python followed by the name of the file. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we'll talk about variables. Those are the basic variable types like int, float, boolean, complex, and strings. We'll also talk about typecasting, and then size, memory, and all those things which are related to variables. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.